Okay, so if no one answers, I will confirm that everyone can hear. It,
Yeah.
okay, so first, my speech, my feedback's going to have three parts. First is the team feedbacks. Secondly, the individual feedbacks and what to improve. So first about team feedback. First is for the team, the overall feedback. First is strong is a strong moral fine. So how duty to future generation and high impact risk. For example, AI or general position. And when A1 set the clear mechanism, the global mandatory testing period, red lines, it becomes defensible. And you have emotional resilience, but this in the future, life is still powerful, it's paired with a specific mechanism. Firstly, it's not a weaknesses to fix. Firstly, you have the vagueness in the mechanism. How do you implement the global slowdown particularly and provide the treaty enforcement tool, funding regulation, sanction, and must answer the Lagrange cheating? If some nation keep researching secretly, slowing global will fail, providing enforcement incentive. You also need to get the avoiding the repeating. A2 must extending not rehashing the A1 or A3 mustn't add new sustainable points. For negative team overall feedbacks, firstly is trying to keep. Firstly is on the natural persuasive side. Progress equals curl and the climate solution, the economic outlated, and the strategies placed to attack the affirmative particularity, the treaty fails, the incentive misleading, and black market emerges. Now the global justice frame, slowing how rich hoards tech is pretended. Some weakness to fix here. Firstly, don't present the progress of unformally goods, addressing the tech rises, it's like a race example directly to alternative government solution, and one must set clear clashes. We accepted the concept that the purpose related, not slow, progresses. A2 must ensure extension is fresh, on quality, innovation for silence, and not repetitive. Moving on to the second part, the advantages and disadvantages speaker by speaker. Firstly, for formative first speaker A1, your advantages is a control definition and burden. You can set a safety first frame. You can introduce the most emotionally compelling catastrophic scenario early, the high impact and low alternative, the proof burden, but some disadvantages that must answer the obvious moral counterattack, delaying the curve and also as well as the tech that save life. Liability to enforceability. Why will the other state comply to? Risks of you'll have risks being able to label the anti-progress if not careful. Second speaker from the A2. You have the opportunity to add novel, high-level analysis and system failure, cultural, moral, and mutually unregular lens. Again, you cannot actually provide specific historical precedent, nuclear treatments, chemical weapons, mentoring, and show the feasibility of the global limit. You can provide an evidence particularly like probability to examine and deeper weighing. But you also fail too easy to fail with a repetition of A1 must bring the like genius new material, and if evidence is like anecdotal or speculative, negative will undermine the credibility. Moving on to third speaker, the A3, the whip speaker. So you do have a final summarizer. Can frame the debate as do we accept the small present costs to avoid extensive level risk? And you can have the tradition of a negative strategy. For example, promise of government, but history is failing. And can collaborate to show the affirmative wins to magnitude. Thirdly, is the disadvantages. You cannot introduce new argument. Must rely on new speeches. If A2 failed to extend a wall, A3 has to limit maturity way. Judge accepted the expected the Crips away. The A3 must be extremely clear and organized. Move on to negative first speaker and one. So set the main clashes. You have like clashes for example and regular progress rather than slow down. But you can use the strong pragmatic example, like for example, vaccine energy text to show the immediate harm of showing. You can actually frame the affirmative plan as unrealistic and dangerous in practicality, and why it is true. But your disadvantages here is that must engage to the extent to risk directly. Otherwise, the affirmative high impact claim limited. You need to provide a credibility to alternative mechanism, how to manage risk without slowing rather than more signal. Second speaker of a negative team. You can deliver authentic incentive, like for example, the inequality or the incentive black market, and you can weaponize a historical example where secrecy and competitive speed are dangerous tech and its nuclear arm races, and can offer solutions. For example, the global framework, the safety by design, the scientific commitment, and must be careful not to repeat the end one. Extension must be novel and crucial. If evidence is too weak, narrative will discredit and claim that sharing harm the poor development. We're going to the last bit of this debate. You can need to be like sympathized the way, present versus the future, probability versus the magnitude, feasibility versus the idealism. So you also can't show definitive mechanism collapse under the incentive enforcement pressure. You can out forward the final narrative. A affirmative plan causes more harm than the private. You cannot introduce a new substitutes of material. Must show clearly why negative model, the regulated progress, irrealistic and has greater net benefits. Firstly, is that lastly is a practicality strategy cards and cards and clash line. First affirmative pre-bunked, they propose a limit, target slowdown, not bans all science with economic presentation, the enforcement through intentional funding control and segment violence. So I'm going to weigh for four things. Firstly, weighing for framework good for both lists. Firstly is probability. How likely to catastrophe event? Secondly, the magnitude. How severe is harm? The trackability. Can our plan prevent it? And the larger cause. What known harm follow from plan? Use extensive value the probability versus the magnitude, and then subtract the clarity of cause livelihoods. Now moving on to which team won in this debate. This motion days that this helping humanity should deliberately slow down scientific progress. Both of them made a good thing, but engagements are less. Both engagement and teamwork and presentation are very lacking. And the most of you actually had a problem with the clarity of the speeches. The clarity of speeches, which means how well you actually put your model in work and how does your teamwork actually collide it together. First is that there are just a few speakers who actually get what the emotion actually telling us. This how believe humanity should deliberately slow down scientific progress. So the winning team for the day is the negative team. So the winning team is a negative team. The best speaker for negative is Lori. The best speaker for affirmative is Richard. Both third speaker from both teams. Okay, those are my overall feedbacks. If you guys have any questions. Do you guys have any questions?
Who is the best speaker overall?
I think the best speaker for overall is Lori. Okay, if you guys have any questions else.
Nope.
Okay, if you guys have any question, we can end the debate. Goodbye, guys.